Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. 'Tis I, Mike Martins, once again bringing you another Australian housing update. I promise I'm going to do one this week for American housing update on what's happening from east to west to north to south. And I just did a few Canadian ones a few days ago. Don't forget to join me tomorrow night, Western Seaboard time, 7 p.m. Wednesday, my time, for trends in the housing market. And trends in the housing market's been a hit. I stream it on my backup channel. Unfortunately, it needs to be streamed on my backup channel because I was discussing, got all kinds of, guests from everywhere coming on the show and making a presence, and call-ins. So if you want to add me on Skype, please go ahead. It's Mike Martins 1980 on Skype. Send me a first message saying, hey, Mike, I'm in Melbourne, or I'm in Sydney, I'm in Perth, I'm in Hobart, wherever you are. And I want to send you this message because I'm seeing a lot of people moving in from Sydney in my town. Or I look at all these empty buildings, right? So we got our man Anon on the ground, who's going to be doing some filming for us. Hopefully he'll have some videos updated on his channel for the empty, vacant condos in Sydney and Melbourne. Well, in Sydney, where he lives, where there's tons of empty condos, just empty homes everywhere. So it'll be good. It'd be a good boots on the ground to find out what's going on. And if you want to add tips to the show, just message me, email me, do whatever you got to do, guys. Let's get the word out there so people. You know, I've been talking about this housing crash now for many years, 7, 8. It's gonna be 9 years this summer, 9. And people keep saying, well, if you keep predicting a crash, it's gonna eventually happen. Well, no, this is different. I've been predicting this because there's too much government influence, too much banking crap going on. Look what's happening with the Royal Commission. There's just too much garbage, and we've never had so much banks or banking systems break their own rules. And that's what I was saying when I was doing this episode here of who's going to jail in Australia. This episode here. Stupid commissions. And then people wonder why no one likes them. Guys, just an announcement that walking journey is good. So I get into this here. What I get into right here at this from this video is basically saying they're going to have to, people that were fraudulently put into mortgages, even though they didn't qualify and they had to cook the books, the banks need to repay those mortgages back. There need to be buybacks. There's no way that, oh, he should have did his homework. He should have read the fine print. No. People walk into a bank and they expect to be treated with respect and not lied to. Plain and simple. No questions, no debates about it. I don't study, well, okay, I kind of get a gist of what's going on around me, fine. But I don't cut my own, well, if I had hair, I wouldn't cut my own hair. I just go to a barber because I don't trust myself. You know, if I need, for some people, if they need to fix their car, I can fix my own car. But if somebody needs to fix their car, change an oxygen sensor or change a head gasket, they take it to the mechanic to fix because they can't do it themselves. Same thing with the bank. Bank has tools that they use to help finance you. And if the bank is screwing around, they're going to have to start buying back some of these mortgages because people went in there just like they bring their car. Hey, if I could fix my head gasket, I do it myself at home type of attitude. But they walk into these institutions believing that they're in good hands. Anyways, so let's start off here. Credit Susie Swasi. Sydney house prices fall 9% in 2019. They're predicting a 19% fall. What happened to the big spring sales in Sydney and Melbourne and the Southern Hemisphere? It is spring. Prices are going to go up another 6%. But no, they've fallen. We have just published an article of Outlook Sydney housing. Now, prices have dropped around 15% from their late 2017 peak and now are falling their fastest in several decades. So 2018 is completely wiped out. Anything you gain in 2018? Hasta la vista. There are tentative signs of that Chinese demand is bottoming out. Jowie.com reports a 58% increase in buyer inquiries in the year of Q4 of 2018 and property measures of Chinese resident outflows based on outbound foreign direct investment and trade misinvoicing has experienced its unusual year-end spike with the trend of decline from 2017. Look at that. Holy smokeroos. Ooh. This trade misinvoicing, outbound FDI, and there's a total right there. This one here, so supply is falling. Building approvals are down roughly 30 points over the past year, foreshadowing quite a steep decline in dwelling completions. What about the people, the pre-approvals? What about all these projects in the crane city? All the cranes everywhere. If you don't buy now, you'll never own. What happened to those? What happened to those real estate agents? If I was one of those guys, I'd put a paper bag over my head and just be in shame. But no one's got pride anymore. They don't go, oh, well, I lied to you. Too bad. That's your problem for believing me. Yeah. However, notwithstanding these positives, our property measure of demand to supply balance still remains 30% below its long-term average, even if we flat track other demand drivers such as mortgage rates and net new buyer participation. No one's securing financing. Game over, right? Assume that insolvency activity does not increase. Woo! Okay. Do not factor in any other tightening to come through, whether through stricter leading standards or out-of-cycle rate hikes. The prospective bottoming out in demand and the reduction in supply foreshadowed by leading indicators is still not enough to bring the housing market back to equilibrium. Therefore, real house prices are likely to continue falling around 9% in 2019 and possibly a little more in early 2020. Without timely or effective policy stimulus, the earliest that we can see the housing market stabilizing is in second half of 2020. Okay, guys, you heard it here first. They're going to try everything. They're going to throw everything at this to try and stabilize at equilibrium this housing crisis, but you're going to see the typical house go down to 400 grand. There's no way around it. It's because they can't afford because capital outflows from China have not been flowing. Yeah, it all adds up. Watch all my other older videos. A lot of people are going to be asking questions in the comments. Well, Mike, you forgot to mention this. Well, Mike, you forgot. No, watch all my videos. I've been talking about this for it's going to be 9 years this summer. 9. We do believe that the stimulus is on the way. The RBA must cut rates. So it goes back to the video I made earlier today in my van saying they're borrowing to sell out our futures. Keep borrowing, stimulate the economy, and keep the Ponzi scheme going, but our futures are completely sold out. Our great-grandkids, forget our grandkids, like my generation, me, I'm 40, my son's 5. Not his kids, but his kids' now are, woo! The stimulus is on the way to save the day. The RBA must cut rates and lower interest rates. And you saw what happened to the Australian dollar last week when they announced they were going to cut rates. And now look what's happening. You're going to be seeing a 50-cent US dollar by mid-2020 if they don't fix this. I might have a grade 6 reading level, but I can tell you straight up where things are going to be headed. They must cut rates to ensure the pass-through to end borrowers and offset potential tightening coming through the changes to negative gearing and capital tax gain, capital tax discounts. In the event of change in the government, whichever government ends up in power in the second half of 2019, they must spend more to shield the economy from large and negative multiplier effects from housing downturn. But all this, let's build a bubble. 2007 on a bubble. 2017 on a bubble. 2020 you're building 3 bubbles. It's like la la la. There was a little Spanish fleet and he looked like you and me. And yeah, it's what's happening here. And the interim supply over variable able to adjust. Therefore, we could easily see building approvals fall further 20-30% after having already fallen 30% over the past year. Nationwide approvals have certainly not bottomed at 185K annualized. If we consider that residential investment is 6% of GDP and 20-30% nationwide drop is construction activity would represent a 1.2 to 1.8% drag on the 2019. Who cares? The GDP is all propped up. They're stimulating money to prop the GDP to make it look good. But in reality, it's the working poor that's going to pay this back. This is even before considering negative wealth and credit effects of falling house prices on consumers and the potential for residential investment to drop even more sharply in the 20-30% already baked in by building approvals. Our outlook on negative retail, building, and banking sectors, we think reasonably negative market momentum in these sectors in a meaningful signal to play. What's going to happen? Major cities in Australia will just turn into slums. Plain simple. Hoods, or whatever you want to call them. That's what's going to happen, guys, eventually. They're borrowing. Poverty is just going to increase. Working poor can't pay this up. They keep artificially playing with rates, and it's never been done in human history. Now they want to do this. They want to implement this, and I've been talking the same thing over and over again. People write on the comments, yes, this guy was saying this in his video like a month ago, Mike. You're just ripping somebody's video off. I go on the fly, guys. Read this as we go along. Look at videos from 8 years ago and see what I was saying about the Australian housing market. That's why they're getting all deleted and why they want me off YouTube. Let's look at some other articles before I end this transmission. No end to slide in property prices and my credibility as an investment advisor. No end to slide in property market. RBA Governor Philip Lowe expects further price declines in Sydney. Oh, you better believe it when houses are 80% overpriced. I've been forecasting a 40-50% crash from 5-6 years ago in Sydney, and that was before the big boom in 2016-17, because houses were already overpriced. Housing slump forces Australia to revise down growth forecasts. Central bank sees a 3% gain in 2019. Policymakers turn less hawkish. So one hand's doing one thing, the other's doing the other. You're not helping out your citizens. It's time the citizens to elect a grassroots party. Buyers snap up homes in falling Sydney market, but some suburbs buck the trend. So people are buying up homes as they fall. Don't fall into that trap, people. There's a lot more to come. These people that bought, give them another 3 weeks, they'll be underwater. That's how fast it's going. National Australia Bank predicts RBA rate cut amid housing headwinds. National Australian Bank has changed its cash rate outlook from a hike to an eventual cut following the further steep falls in home loan lending. Okay, guys, some videos here at the end for you guys to click on and watch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I appreciate everyone for taking the time to watch this transmission, and don't forget to hit me up in the tip jar. All tips are appreciated. Thanks for watching, and have yourself a great week. And don't forget to join me tomorrow night for Trends in the Housing Market Wednesday nights. Thank you.